In this video, I'm going to show you the top 3 ways to plant switchgrass for whitetails. So this spot that we're in is newly planted switchgrass this year, and we used the Groundhog Max, and we disked all this stuff up with the 4-wheeler disc, and we planted the switchgrass in here, and it's looking pretty good. It's a couple inches high. I know there's some right here. There's a lot all the way around here. I broadcasted pretty heavy on this because I wanted a good thick screen here. We got some new switchgrass coming in. We got a couple inches high switchgrass coming in, so that's really neat to see how the switchgrass is coming in. But I'm going to show you the top 3 ways to use switchgrass, and so this is going to be the first way, and this is for a bedding area. And this is, like I said, this is newly planted. I think I planted this in May sometime, the second to last week of May, and so this is looking really good. It's growing pretty fast for that time frame and how long it's been. But this is a really good representation of a bedding area spot, because we have a really nice bedding area over here, and we're going to make sure that the deer feel safe right over there with the switchgrass screen. And not only is this going to be used as a screen, but I can come in and access through here to this tree right here for a ladder stand, and then I can shoot that way. And so it'll take a lot of clearing to get out, but hopefully we can do that, or maybe even put a blind up in over here. But either way, it's still going to be used as a screen and for bedding. So more so of a screen, but we can still use this for bedding. I mean, the deer have already been checking this out. There's a ton of deer tracks in here, and it's really neat to see them start to use this and already be interested in it. But there are a lot of deer that have been in this particular spot, and so it's a really good summer spot for bucks, and it's a really good fall spot for bucks. So when planting the switchgrass, I just broadcast it, spray glyphosate over it, and then let it emerge. And then once it gets a couple feet high, maybe I'll mow it again with the brush hog and the tractor. But this is a really good switchgrass screen that we got coming up in here, and hopefully we'll be able to use it this year. And really by next year, it should be really tall. I've got some 2-year-old switchgrass over here, a couple 100 yards away, probably 600 yards away. And that new switchgrass is really coming in well, or that 2-year-old switchgrass is coming in well. It's about 4.5 foot tall, and by the end of this year, it'll be 5 to 6 foot tall as a screen for them. And that is strictly bedding. That's not access or anything. So using the switchgrass, I just have a pretty thick screen right here, and then they don't like to bed directly. Say when this is 4 or 5 foot tall, they don't want to bed directly right in here. They're going to bed on the outside edge of that switchgrass, and they're going to use it as a thermal protection and a cover for while they're bedded. And now we're going to go over to the food plot, and I'm going to show you the best way to use switchgrass as a screen. So now we're at the food plot, and as you can see, the food plot's right here, and we got some buckwheat coming in. So excited to plant that. Just planted it, and it's coming up pretty well. And so this is the screen that I'm talking about right here. This is all switchgrass all the way down. As you can see, this disked up dirt spot. And so this will provide cover and just make the deer feel more secure and safe while they're feeding. And so I did a video on this. It's how to screen off a food plot, and it goes into more detail about what it does for the food plot, but I'm just going to talk about the switchgrass screen in general. But point number 2 is screens for switchgrass, and we have a good screen going all the way back, a good switchgrass germination in here, and then it actually wraps around in my tree stands right here. And so I can walk through that switchgrass and straight up to my tree stand without the deer even seeing me. In 2 years, once this switchgrass is really high, I might even be able to come in here while deer are here, not saying that I would, and that I would take that risk, but I would even be able to, if I was super quiet, be able to sneak into my stand without the deer even seeing me. And so that's exactly what a screen's for. And so it's got a good access too, but I'm going to go over here to the mock scrape stand in just a second and show you that access trail with the switchgrass. But this is a good representation of an access trail too. We have this whole screen that screens off the food plot, but then it wraps around and I can use that for access as well. And so the deer shouldn't be past this. And also, if you really want to enhance a screen, I talked about this in how to screen off food plots videos, but I have conifers all the way down to the right of, or to the left of the switchgrass screen. So in 5 years, those conifers are going to be a couple feet tall. The switchgrass is going to be 5 to 6 feet tall, and we're going to have a really, really good screen. And I will be able to slip in here without any deer seeing me, and they'll just feel safe and secure in the food plot while they're feeding as well. So that's another way to use switchgrass, is as a screen. Planted this probably 2 weeks ago, and it's just starting to pop up, just starting to germinate. So that's really cool to find, and the deer were checking this spot out too. So that's really neat to see them already curious on what's going on. So number 2 is screens for food plot, or not for a food plot, but just switchgrass screens in general. And it's really easy to make as long as you know where to put that switchgrass at, and to make sure that you put it in the right spots. So now we're going to go over to the mock scrape stand, and I'll show you the access trail that we've made with the switchgrass. And now the third and final way to use switchgrass is as an access screen to your tree stand. So right behind me here, we have a silver maple tree, and I have my stand up in there, and we have the switchgrass screen that goes all the way across. So this will not only make the deer feel protected while they're accessing through here right next to my stand, because this stand's pretty close to their access trail. It's the only place I could fit it into, but we also have access to go straight into the stand. And so this will make sure that when we go out there and when we go to the stand, the deer won't see us while we're entering the stand. So if we're out here in the field and they're in here watching us, then we would spook them out. But now that we have the switchgrass here, we can walk through this field without them even knowing we're here. So that's the third way to use switchgrass as a screen. And there's a lot of different ways you can use switchgrass in a lot of different places. So like the food plot, it's a screen, but we're also using it for access. The bedding area back here is a bedding area screen, or just switchgrass bedding area, but we can also use that as a screen as well. And then this is a mock scrape access trail to go to our stand, but we can also use this as a screen to screen off when the deer are moving in there. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can use switchgrass, and I'll do a video on some of the 2-year-old switchgrass here soon, but this is just the top 3 best ways to use switchgrass for your land and for hunting whitetails.